want to preach from the thought, fathers, keep on keeping on. While I looked at the news, something strange happened to me because I sat there and I wondered how it used to be when fathers, they prided themselves on taking care of their families. They prided themselves on getting their sons haircuts. They prided themselves on making sure that their daughters knew how a man was supposed to treat them. And so when I look at this thing, and I have to understand, y'all, that there are some situations that we don't want to see in society. And we look at Father's Day, y'all. How many of y'all know that there are some folk who are not living up to the principle that they need to live up to be the father that God has called them to be? Oh, y'all ain't gonna walk with me. Let me talk to you for a few minutes. It's strange, y'all, that how there are many initiatives going on around the country, and one that's happening in this neighborhood called Fatherhood Initiative 2012, where they are trying to push fathers to be who they're supposed to be. How many of y'all know that it's bad when you got to go to the president to get an initiative to push a father to be what he should have been when he laid down and made the baby? I know I ain't gonna get no help in here, but is there anybody glad that there is an ideal father in this situation where we can declare there are some real men up in here that will take care of their family, that will do what's necessary, they will give their last so their child will have something to eat, they'll buy clothes for their kid before they go to the store themselves, they'll go without so that they'll make sure that their family has everything that they need. Do I have anybody in here that will give God glory for a father that will do what he's supposed to do what he has to do, that he will give up everything to make sure that what God called him to do, he can do it? Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, I thank God that I know a father that would be a father to me even when he didn't want to be. Give God glory for the fathers that stepped up to the plate and did exactly what God called them to do. Look at your neighbor and say, keep on going, Father. In this text, y'all, we find that here we have Abraham, and Abraham, y'all, is not like anybody else in here. How many of y'all know that in many respects, he's just like every father in here? Abraham has some issues with faith. Abraham has some issues with his spirituality. And here we have Abraham, y'all, and he's been pushed to do something that he really didn't want to do. How many of y'all know that Abraham was just like many fathers who are sitting in here right now? He was given a task by God, and the first thing God showed me, if y'all will just walk with me just for a few minutes, the first thing God showed me was that he had to hear the voice of God. Many of the problems that we have in society right now, many of the reasons why we have fathers and child support issues right now is because a whole lot of fathers don't understand and have not heard from the word of God. How many of y'all know the only way that you can do the will of God is to hear the word of God? Faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. Oh, I wish I had some help in here. I know it's kind of tight, but if y'all give me a few minutes, I'm going to go ahead and speak the truth up in the atmosphere. The reality is God calls us to do certain things, and how many of y'all know it's not always easy, it's not always comfortable to